So with that, let's bring in Kellyanne Conway, former senior counselor to President Trump and author of Here's the Deal. Kellyanne, always good to see you. This is a fascinating race to watch in New Hampshire. You've got a late primary here. Don Bolduc is ahead right now. Chuck Morse, you've got $4 million being poured in by McConnell, financial support and fundraising, and Sununu coming in for Morse. What do you make of this, money that's being spent in New Hampshire by two Republican sides?
Martha, you also have Chuck Schumer pouring in over $3 million to pump up Bolduc, thinking that he would be the less formidable candidate against Maggie Hassan. That strategy of buoying up the Republican you think is, quote, unelectable, a silly word, more on that in a second, has really backfired in other races so far. And I just have one question for Chuck Schumer, Joe Biden, Maggie Hassan, and Chuck Pappas and all the Democrats. Why do you have such little faith in your candidates and your incumbents that you're playing around in the Republican primaries? The real issue, the real person on the chopping block here this fall is named Maggie Hassan. She won by less than a point 6 years ago. She has voted lockstep with the Biden agenda, the Inflation Reduction Act, the Build Back Better stuff, all the trillions of dollars in spending the money we don't have on things we don't need. And yet then out on the stump tries to fool and trick the New Hampshire voters by saying she's critical of Joe Biden. New Hampshire is one of the hardest hit states, Martha, by the opioid and fentanyl crisis. And I think Senator Hassan has not done enough. What took her until a re-election year to go to the border, where the fentanyl is pouring across daily into our communities, our co-workers' bodies, and our kids' veins. So I think Maggie Hassan is worried. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a vulnerable Senate race. It's clearly one of the places where it's possible for the GOP to pick up a seat and maybe get the majority. But it's a very, it's a pretty high bar at this point. Who do you think should be the candidate? Do you think Bolduc can beat Hassan, or Morse is better to beat Hassan?
They can both beat Hassan because they both are aligned with the issues that matter to the Granite State voters, Martha. This is a live free. Their motto is live free or die. Maggie Hassan has taken votes. Chris Pappas in Congress has taken votes again and again that are compromising the freedoms and liberties of people in New Hampshire. And also, I'm not a big fan of the electability argument. We sort of retired that in 2016 when Donald Trump beat 17 other Republicans, senators, governors, business people, members of Congress, et cetera, and then beat the Queen Bee herself, Hillary Clinton, when a majority of the voters were female. So guess what? Voters don't ask who can win. Voters ask who can lead. Washington likes to ask who can win. So either of them can beat Maggie Hassan. I would also point out in terms of spending that the Senate Leadership Fund has reserved $23 million in spending against Hassan going into Election Day. This is key, Martha, because as you pointed out in your opener, this is a late primary, one of the latest in the country. There's only going to be about 6 or 7 weeks left between primary day and Election Day. Maggie Hassan's going to be under fire in these ads again and again to be held to account for her race. And look, Joe Biden won the state by 7 points last time. She should have this going away, but it shows the vulnerability of some of these female Democratic senators. The St. Anselm's poll last week said 51% disapprove of Hassan, 41% strongly, and among self-identified swing voters,
we'll see what happens.
It's higher. So she's got some problems.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who wins this and whether or not that candidate is electable, because then a lot of that is going to come back to who President Trump supported or didn't support. And we'll have that conversation when we get to it. But before I let you go, I do want to ask you, because you traveled to the United Kingdom with President Trump, and you talked a little bit to me earlier about how gracious Queen Elizabeth was to all of you. Can you just give us a quick thought on that before we go, Kellyanne?
Martha, I'm sure it's an experience that so many people have who have been in Her Majesty's presence. I went on the state visit. The Queen and Prince Harry gave probably 24 or so of us a private audience, and then we had lunch. We had a larger lunch, and then, of course, the state dinner that everyone saw, a public event. It was incredible. I think that she and President Trump had a very great working relationship. She was gracious, but she was also very engaged. For all the talk about Princess Diana, Princess Kate, Meghan Markle, of course, there's celebrities, people like the princesses, but it's the Queen as the leader, the monarch of 7 decades, who I think impressed so many people with her ability to govern through 15 prime ministers and 13 U.S. presidents and the like. But on a personal level, it was just so incredible to be in her presence and to be treated so beautifully. And of course, I've been a corgi owner for 30 years. We have Welsh corgis at home, so we have great affection for the Queen. I know they're catching in popularity now in the U.S.
I bet you guys have lots to talk about.
We love corgis. And then just finally, I will say I was escorted into the state dinner by her cousin, and even he confided in me how thrilled everyone was. And I thought that the princess and princesses and Sophie and Edward and everybody were just so nice to us, the Americans, when we were there. And I want everybody to know that.
That's great.
Thank you.
It's a wonderful story. Thank you very much.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.